And we are live. Guys, welcome to the Let's Talk Fishing video podcast. My name is Jay Angel. I'm going to be your podcaster for this evening. I know I say this is going to be a great podcast, but this one is going to be a great podcast. It's a very important podcast because what we're going to be talking about is very near and dear to my heart. It goes beyond fishing. What I have here is the guys from Responsible Anglers United. I have Tyler Rivet. How you doing tonight, Tyler?
Hey.
Tyler is a Bassmaster Elite Pro. I always like to have him on my podcast. He's been on my podcast before. And Steve Dufrene, who is the founder of Responsible Anglers United. Steve, could you please tell us what is Responsible Anglers United?
Jay, the organization is designed to, our main mission is going to be just to raise money and to release fish. There's other organizations, like there's one, for example, called Make Lake Buff Great Again. That's not formed. It's going to be a state recognized body once it's completed. And I don't want to say too much because I don't want to speak on their behalf, but that was there was like three main things that inspired me to get this going. And that was a big one when I saw what those guys were attempting to put together. But anyway, their mission was a little bit different, whereas ours is going to be to raise money. And for all the money we raise, we're going to buy phase 2 tiger bass, start in the Lake Buff area, and then do this every single year for as long as it takes and keep going throughout the parish.
Wow. So you're going to be raising money to purchase bass to stock in the waters around Lake Buff, which is in southern Louisiana. I think you might have said this, but could you please explain what kind of strain of bass you will be stocking?
Yeah, well, what we decided is we're going to get, it's like I said, it's a phase 2 tiger bass. And what a tiger bass is, it's a hybrid. It's a hybrid of a northern bass. And the thing that we like about that is they're very aggressive and they even tend to bite well in cooler temperatures. They're from up north, so it kind of makes sense. So that's going to give them the aggressive nature, which of course as fishermen we all look for. And the second thing is we're going to have them bred with they are bred with a Florida largemouth. So that of course give them the size. So what we're looking for is to produce very large aggressive fish. And by the way, the phase 2, the reason we decided to go with phase 1, phase 2 fish are considerably more expensive versus the phase 1 fish. Phase 1's fish is around 2 inches, whereas these fish would be 6, 8, maybe even 9 inches long. And I don't know if this has ever been tried in this area. In fact, I don't think it has. But we're of the belief that in spite of the fact that it's going to cost more money per fish, I think we'll have a much better net outcome because although we're releasing a lot less fish, I think a lot more will actually make it.
Yeah, the survival rate would be higher for sure than a 2-incher.
A 2-inch fish has
with no cover.
Yeah, somewhere around an 80+% mortality rate.
Mm-hmm. At least.
Right.
So how long are the fish you're going to be releasing going to be?
Approximately 6 to 8, maybe 9 inches long.
Jeez.
Yeah, so these fish, some of these fish would be over a half a pound or so because they're thick fish. So we're thinking within a year, they'll be pound and a half or so. They're going to grow very fast.
Yep.
Wow.
As long as they don't end up with someone's ice chest, which we could address that too, but there's only so much you can do about that. Right.
There's only so much we can do about that. But
right.
So you're going to buy these fish, you're going to stock them in the Lake Buff, and I think most people who aren't from around here, of course, I'm not from around here, but I live down here. All these waterways are interconnected.
Yes.
So these fish so when you stock them in the Lake Buff, they're going to swim up to Lake Verret. And this isn't a one and done thing either. You're going to be doing this for years and years and years, and I'm going to help that.
Thank you.
Definitely. We're starting in Lake Buff. And then we're going to just make our way up north through Des Allemands. And that's going to be our main focus for the first year for sure. Just to make sure, because it's like almost, I wouldn't say landlocked, but it's furthest away from salt water. and I think it's the least affected from just saltwater intrusions and stuff. And I think we've seen it in the past how good the fishing could be in Lake Buff area and the Zalmans too. So
Right.
I think
The Solomons, that's pretty close to Lake Salvador, which is pretty close to Catawachi, correct?
correct.
Yeah, so that's kind of the goal, is to go from Lake Buff, all the canals and whatnot, head towards the Zalmans, go up by the Zalmans, and from there you just stay up by the Zalmans, and you go straight to Lake Salvador, and then from there Silla Rolls and Lockport, and you basically almost completed the circle back to racing at that point. So yeah, that's the goal. And another thing we like about the northern strain, or one of the things that was appealing, is I think they'll tolerate, when we do have some saltwater intrusion, they can perhaps tolerate it a little better than the Florida largemouth. So, because that needs to be taken into consideration too.
I wanted to ask you guys, so this strain, what kind of potential do we have for getting 10-pounders there?
There's always potential, especially with F2. I've caught them plenty of times, especially the Florida strains. They're known for the 10-pound range. They're more of you get way more 7 to 9 pounders for sure. Like, they grow, and it all depends on their habitat and if people let them go.
Yeah.
And so that's the main deal. But I think it's just, you got to have the fish to get them. We don't have the fish right now to get the 7-pounders. So it's crazy.
We have such incredible potential down here. There's so much. Tyler, you know where I'm from. I'm from the Northland, where, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
I fished that whole area, Ohio, Minnesota. There's just not as much fish up there.
No.
But the thing about that is the potential isn't there. Down here we have the potential. And fish, they're just the numbers, the potential we have down here is incredible. I have a hard time wrapping my brain around that. There's just so much food down here. There's so much cover, and that's what fish need. They need a suitable temperature in the water. They need cover.
Yep.
And they need food. And there's just wow, my brain just got going too fast there. I get excited about this, man. I get excited.
It's crazy. It's just thinking of it, just from like when I was growing up fishing, and just like not even just 5 years ago, it was just so different. And I think that's why it just, like Steve finally like stepped up. He was the guy that did it and just wanted to make a change, because it's honestly like, it's not fun fishing down here anymore. Like, I have not gone on a trip down here in a couple years, and it's like, man, that was a fun trip. And I mean, somebody's got to step up, and we got to figure something out. So we're going to try to figure out a solution.
We do. And Steve, first of all, I want to thank you for stepping up. This is an incredible undertaking, guys. I've been involved in stuff like this. I've been involved in the planning and all the way up to buying the fish. It's an incredible amount of work. It's a huge task. Steve, thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Jay.
I just love this. I can't tell you how much I love this. Anything you can do to increase the quality of our fishery. And, if you talk to the guys from the LVWF, just tell them, you know what? You can even just put this on me. Jay Angel says, if you build it, they will come. And that's true. If you want to stimulate the economy down here,
that's right,
get the fishing going, because they're not allowing us to drill on the
yeah.
Well, I think, just Jay, to round that thought off, so just two things, like we were talking about earlier. So some people think that, we're going to do this, that we think we're going to do this year one, or 1 year, raise X amount of dollars. And it's no. I mean, my idea is start a movement, get people to buy in. I mean, nobody wants to get aboard a sinking ship, but everybody wants to get on a jet, that's doing like that. And I don't know if we're ever going to get to that jet part, but I'm starting to finally feel some wind to our back, and it's building by the day right now. And I think that's just going to strengthen numbers, So I think more and more people will want to get involved. And the other part of that thinking is, we could have waited around, and some people, that was their advice to me, man, just get with the state. Man, look, we've been trying this crap. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we're going to continue to. But I think that if we keep doing our part, pulling our wagon, and there's this movement that takes place. And look, we got, I want to recognize Representative Brian Fondo. He's been doing a lot for us. He's really involved with helping make Lake Bluff great again. Finally, become formed and, like I said, become a state recognized body. And there's people like him. And there's other people that are working on our behalf. People in this area. There's a lot of tax revenue that comes from between here and Baton Rouge, but yet all the money goes up North Louisiana. They get all the fish.
Yes.
We don't get crap. They quit releasing fish around here around 2011. But I know you had mentioned to me the other day that you're trying to get it set up with Stephen Rottweiler where he can do the podcast, and he's perhaps the best one to talk to just about the history and where we were at and where we could potentially be again, because the fish he was catching around the islands and elsewhere, and I mean, they were catching 8-pounders in Lake Buff. I think there was a couple of 10-pounders that came out. You can't tell me that didn't have something to do with the fact that for a period of time they were releasing Florida strange largemouth bass, but then at some point, I think around 2011, they stopped completely, and eventually those genes are going to breed out, and you're going to go back to the native fish, you know. But now, since Hurricane Ida, we got hardly any fish at all. So we just trying to step on the gas and kind of front end load this thing, and like I said, hopefully, and I want as many people as possible, like it's myself and I got 10 other people that form this committee. And yeah, so that's our committee members, but it's important for me that people like yourself and other people that aren't on the committee, I can give two craps less about that, to be quite honest with you. Anybody that wants to take part in this, first of all, we need the help. And I'm of the belief that the more people that participate, you feel like when this thing's over on February 8th and it's a huge stinking success, they can feel like they had some role in the success. And I think that when people believe that, they're less likely, even if they're the kind of person that has impulse control and they are inclined to go and put everything in an ice chest. It's 10. The law says I can keep 10. First of all, it shouldn't be 10. After Hurricane Ida, like right now, a couple of weeks ago in some places in Louisiana, when the water got high, guess what they did for deer season? They shut it down. They put a moratorium on it because it's not fair to the deer. But yet around here, we have one of the worst massive fish kills in history, and they don't do crap. They don't even come down on the limit. You know what I'm saying? And the fish there were two times when the fish attempted to come back around Lake Buff. And everybody, I'm not going to say everybody, but a lot of people couldn't help themselves, and they just went and they caught thousands and thousands and thousands of fish till they absolutely wiped them out. And the whole attitude was, if I don't catch them, the next guy's going to keep them and all that. And it's that mentality that needs to change. So once again, I want people to take part, and it's not like, that's those guys. That's Responsible Anglers United. No, I want people to have the attitude to know this is our deal, because it is. It's kind of like what you were talking about when we were talking earlier. It's for all of us. Okay, we all benefit if this thing comes through, and if that's the case, once again, if they play a role, I think they're gonna behave better on the water, and I think they'll encourage other people to do the same thing. And I think it's all about having that influence and just going from there.
Okay. Great point. I have a couple of questions. Actually, I have several questions. What is the price per fish, and what is the target amount for the first release?
Two answers. There's no amount. I can't imagine the number of fish that, I mean, if I could just wave a wand, we'd have to give it biologists and all, like if it was where we could do the whole parish. I don't know, but it'd be a lot of fish, and it's not going to happen anywhere, any stretch of imagination year one. So back to what I said earlier, we are every dollar raised is going to go to purchase as many fish as possible. And that's going to determine how far out we can branch out, outside of the lake going towards Lake des Islands. What do they cost? The prices we got right now granted, we're going to try to negotiate these prices down because there are a few different qualified or approved fisheries, where you do the genetic testing and everything else. And because we got to get permits to release these fish from the biologists around here, that day that I can't wait, in either late March or maybe early April, when we go to release these fish, we're going to be meeting at, I think about this all the time. It's like, it's like, okay, it's finally happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got X amount of fish. We got people at multiple boat launches, but there's going to be wildlife and fishery agents there to give us permits to go out there and release these fish. So we just need to try to figure out who's going to be the best one. But the phase 1 fish are like $2 a piece, whereas the phase 2 are around $6 a piece. So it is significantly more money, as I mentioned earlier. But we still think
you get significant more return on investment for the phase 2.
That's it.
Correct.
That's it. Just straight up.
Yeah.
Also, Tad Mazie has a comment. He said the Catwell was during a hurricane and saltwater intrusion, and that's the only places he's been catching bass.
Wait, where Tad said he's catching fish?
Catawachi.
Okay.
It's crazy how close that is to salt water as well, and they're still surviving. So you would think
there is the Davis Pond diversion.
The version, yeah.
Right.
Which it's okay, but it's been there forever, and the fishing has got terrible there too, but it's starting to come back. So there's literally a cut through the marsh into salt water, and the fish survive there pretty well. So people that say are like Lake Buff, that's not going to survive because of salt water. It's 30 miles from salt water,
right?
And it's got a good ways to go. It would be nice if they did put like a saltwater barrier around the salmons, but that's not for us. And honestly, I don't know if that would how it helps or not. But yeah, it's crazy that they survive Catawachi like that.
Something I'd like to bring out here. How can a guy from a different area, like a guy from North Carolina, he's watching us right now, he wants to help. How can he help you?
In terms of like a monetary donation or something along those lines?
Monetary donations, donations of product, because what we're talking about here, guys, we're going to have a banquet. And if you've ever been to like a Ducks Unlimited banquet, they have silent auctions and live auctions and things you can buy and people walking around doing 50-50 raffles. I mean, there usually is about between 50 and 100 grand changing hands in that night. It's really a lot of fun.
Yeah. So if you want to donate like items or something just for the auction, just the silent auctions that help out, like every little bit helps. You could just probably message us on the Responsible Anglers, just if it's a product that we can't like go through the website and do, and we'll have a place for y'all to send it here. And then you'll also get a tax ID form, everything you need to help yourself out. But for money wise, there's a website, it's givebutter.com. And what you do, you just type in Responsible Anglers United, and we'll pop right up, and you could do your monetary donation and everything you need to know. And you could also get your tickets on there as well if you plan on attending.
Yeah, we got this website, Jay, where it came around the last second. It's really going to help us out. So whether somebody does a Venmo or PayPal or whatever, it's all linked to our Responsible Anglers United bank account. And if somebody wants to cut us a check, they just make it out to Responsible Anglers United. And like I said, on the there's already on Facebook, you could already pre-purchase tickets. There's QR code, right? But a lot of that, Jay, is just all coming out in the last week because we're figuring all this out as we go. I mean, it's literally trial by fire. Yeah. Just go and talking to the right people, and it's been quite the undertaking, to be quite honest with you. But yeah, we do want to encourage people. Like I said, even if they can't make a donation, that's fine. I'm hoping to have 500 people at the event. You know what I'm saying? I think we can exceed that as long as the weather's not good. And but if they do plan on coming, we ask that they prepay their tickets now for two purposes. Number one, I would really like to have an idea how many people to expect. It's going to allow us to know how much food and alcohol and everything else we need to have prepared. And the second thing is all this, especially the alcohol that we got to purchase, because that's all included for the $50. $50, you eat all you want, drink all you want. So I don't want to run out of anything. And that's be a lot of money out of pocket. So yeah, we need a little bit of money to start offsetting some of these coming expenses.
Now, Tad Mazie just said that, we are taxpayers and the state should step up and help us. We have 4 fish hatcheries in the state of Louisiana. I agree with you, Tad. But when the state isn't helping, we got to help ourselves. And that's what we're doing.
Yep.
Correct.
You can't just sit around.
I've seen this in every state I've ever lived in. Every state I've ever lived in.
It's
We
crazy.
can't sit around, because if we sit around, a guy can die of old age waiting for them to help us.
Yeah.
But they do release a lot of fish. Like I said, they release a lot of fish, to the north, in spite of the fact that the vast majority of tax dollars come from the south. So we're not getting fair representation for our tax dollars. But once again, there are people that's addressing that, like Stephen Rockwell is on the Fin Fish Task Force, and they're pretty much all geared towards saltwater fishing. But
Yes.
like he tells them, correct me if I'm wrong, but a bass does have a fin, so therefore it is. I mean, it's technically it's a fin fish, and so he's.
If you want to talk tax dollars, think of the tax dollars that we could generate if we started catching 7 and 8 pound bass down here.
Yeah.
Tad told me that there used to be hotels around Lake Chi just for the fishermen. Oh no, I think I'm just for the fishermen to use when they came here to fish. Remember, Catawatchie is where Van Dam won the Classic.
Broke the record for the Classic. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, what's the odds of them coming out here anytime soon? They got no reason to. You know what I'm saying? We're not even on the consideration list, nor should we be. So that's something else that I hope that people around here that sell boats and have tackle shops and all that stuff, sell gasoline. I don't care. You know what I mean? But they know before Ida how many boats and bass fishermen were, how much money they were dumping into these businesses, and now that revenue is not there anymore. So hopefully they see that we're not playing around with this. You know what I'm saying? That we're in it to win it. We're in it for the long haul, and that hopefully they chip in, because in my mind, they have a huge vested interest to see us succeed. When we succeed, so do they.
When you guys succeed, everybody succeeds. It's going to help the economy.
Definitely.
I've seen it happen. All of a sudden,
Nobody wants to
ahead.
come to South Louisiana. It's not sportsman's paradise anymore.
No.
And it hasn't been like that for years. And I honestly think it's before Ida too. It's been going downhill, and it's just, I think it's exactly kind of what Steve was saying, that like they stopped caring about the state in about 2011 when nobody was putting anything back from everybody taking. And I think that definitely helps whenever you actually got a refresh of fish coming every now and then. And I think that's where we're going to step up at, and we're going to put it back in there, and hopefully it helps right back where it needs to be.
One of the things this is going to do politically for us, and I know I don't like to talk politics on my podcast, but I have to right here.
Mm-hmm.
A show of force. We get 6,000, 8,000, 20,000 people behind us. They have to listen.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Joey Roberts said, once the Lake Buff Game and Fish Commission is in place, we will be right there to help in this undertaking.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think Joey's one of the godfathers. He's one of the guys that had stepped up, and he had a very personal role in forming Make Lake Buff Great Again that I'd referred to earlier. So yeah, so like I said, that's kind of just they don't have any control right now. It's they're anxious. We're all anxious for it to come to pass, but for right now, it's jumping through all the bureaucracy hoops and all that stuff. So it's going to be fantastic when it gets there. But yeah, I wanted to recognize Joey and a guy named Chance Hotard. I think they were the two that really, had pushed that forward.
Yep. 2 thumbs up, guys. 2 thumbs up. Anybody who steps up to the plate is not afraid.
Yep.
Not afraid to stick their necks out, man. I'm not afraid. My neck's been chopped off several times. Can't you tell?
I got you.
It just doesn't matter, man. I'm all about fishing. I'm all about fishing, and man, we get some better largemouth bass fishing down here. Man, I love you.
can I say something? You kind of spoke there for a second. It said smallmouth. It actually gave me a cue for something I might have missed that you're not done that. So I appreciate that. But we actually found out today. I found out this evening. Once again, thanks to Brian Fontenot, who was working on our behalf. But we found out that we were applying for a permit to do raffles and whatnot for our event, and we hit a little snag there. I'll put it to you like that. It didn't make any sense, but got Brian involved, and we talked to the right people, and they saw that we had a strong case. It made sense. Anyway, found out today we got the permit. Now, granted, it's going to take a few days. I got to call back tomorrow to get more information, but they're going to give us, I don't know much about this at all, but they're going to give us some kind of a permit number, but that number has to be on all the raffles. And the raffles that I'm referring to is Tyler stepped up big time with this, and he's doing will you tell?
So I think the main raffle for the whole night, it's how much are we doing? $30, $20?
$20 a ticket.
$20 a ticket for the raffle. And you can buy as many as you want, and everything, of course, still all goes to the main proceed. But $20 a ticket for the raffle, and I donated a trip to Lake St. Clair, a 3-day trip, and it's all paid for.
Ooh.
I pay for the flights, I pay for the hotel, and I get you on the boat with me fishing in mid-July when the smallmouth are going crazy, and you pay for nothing. You just pay the $20 ticket, and we'll pick the winner at the event, which is February 8th. And I mean, two people are going to get lucky, and whoever wins, you get to bring 2 people. So you're going to jump on a flight. I'll book the flight for y'all. I'll book the hotel room. And when y'all get to the hotel room, I'm going to pick y'all up in the boat and truck, and we're going to go to the lake, and we're going to catch 100 smallmouth. So hopefully that draws in a lot of attention for sure.
I have fished smallmouth on Lake St. Clair. In fact, when I was in the Air Force, I was stationed right at not Keesler. That was one of the other bases. Right at oh gosh, why don't I have a brain? It's right there on Anchor Bay.
Oh yeah,
Mount.
What are you talking about?
Selfridge Air National Guard Base. I was 19 years old. I was there, and I would rent a 16-foot lund with a 25 horse on the back of it and go out on Lake St. Clair. And that's dedication. Get out on that lake in a little aluminum boat. I found out why they have kill switches that fish in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I mean, smallmouth. If you've never fished there, I'm going to tell you, a casting a rattle trap, and I see you have a Bill Lewis Lures shirt on. You hook into a smallmouth bass, you bring it in, and there's 8 smallmouth bass chasing it.
Yep. There's a ton
That's
of fish.
what he's offering you.
Yep. So
that's what he's offering you guys. And the fishing is even better there now, because back then it had dirty water. Now it has clean water.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So we were getting a little nervous about that. So needless to say, that was some very exciting news today. So yeah, we're circulating really well on Facebook right now. I'm really excited about that. A lot of people seem to be really enthusiastic. They're sharing everything we put out there, and within hopefully days, we'll have that raffle available. And like I said, that's gonna give us time to get a lot of people, to raise a lot of money. I think that's going to be one of our real big ticket items. And as you said earlier, we're going to have, multiple other silent auctions and things like that at the event. And because we're really just kicking off the fundraising in the last few days. So we're really just getting started now.
Okay, Steve, why don't you tell us when the event's going to be, where it's going to be, what time?
Okay. The event's going to be, the event's going to be February 8th. That date was chosen very specifically. When I first wrapped my little brain around this and made this decision, which was in June of last year, tried to do it in September. I got way ahead of myself on that. I like to give myself a nervous breakdown trying to make that happen. So I had to pull back, reschedule. But one of the reasons I wanted to do it in September was I wanted to make sure that we had money to release fish in the spring. You know what I mean? And typically, like with Cliff Crochet and all do, I think they released their fish this year in early April or late March. I think it was early April. But either way, that's about the time of the year that we want to do it. So I wanted to do it in September to get the money and time for that. I didn't want to. There's no way you can do an event like this during hunting season. It would just cost you too many people. And then me and Rottweiler was talking one day after I realized that I can't, it's not going to happen by September. We weren't even a nonprofit at that point. That all happened since. We got that official status in August. But anyhow, he's like, man, just do it in late January. I'm like, crap, that's not a bad, in fact, it's a good idea. And we got the Gaines Community Center on February 8th is what we ended up booking it on. It's going to be from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's a very large building. The capacity is right under 800 people. They do a big fair. They've done a big fair out there for decades. It's called the Bombers Jade Festival. And one of my buddies, Jeremy Bro, who's the president of the Vasher Gaines Community Center, like we had a meeting the other night, and he's like, look, bro, he said, just follow my lead. I'm like, you got it. What I'm saying is like they put on this big event every year, so he knows kind of how everything should be set up to flow right and everything. So yeah, it's going to be there. I think it's going to be the perfect place for it. And like I said, it's right after hunt season, so everybody could be pulling out their cameras and telling their hunt
Keep
stories.
talking if you lose me.
It's right before. Okay, it's right before. The majority of the bass clubs really get busy and everything. And once again, gives us time to, raise the capital and release the fish in time.
Yep.
Uh-oh, Jay, we lost you. We can't hear you. Is it us?
No, I think it was him.
We can't hear you.
Yeah, anyway, for like the event, I don't know if you can hear us, but
I don't think you can. Jay, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
but yeah, if anybody is listening, if they can hear us. So the event's February 8th. Even if that's what we just said earlier, even if you can't make the event, you can still purchase a ticket online on the Give Butter website. It's down here on the bottom. You could just type that in and you'll find us. You could get a ticket, and in the next couple of days, you'll actually be able to buy a raffle ticket as well if you want. And that will just get you into the raffle of what we just talked about with the smallmouth fishing trip up in St. Clair. And it's just $20 a ticket, so you can buy as many as you want. I appreciate that. But So I was just doing my part to try to get as much money as we can to get in here and to help out down here. I think that's hopefully going to help out a lot. But again, that's not with that. It's still nothing. We still need more donations just from people for all the young anglers down here too as well. So we need them because, it's a future for them. And I know a lot of them are going to be there that weekend. But that's why we did this online to where you could actually still pay for the ticket and get here. Can't hear you now. I can read lips.
Yeah.
Okay, now can you hear me?
Yep. Gotcha.
Woo. That's stressful, man. That's stressful. Tyler, I'd like to
2 years off his life right there.
I don't know if I actually went fully deaf there or not.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank you, Tyler, for watching your phone when I was texting you and for taking the show.
Oh, no,
yeah.
that's fine.
Did very well.
Yeah, I've been on a few of them, so
I bet you have. I bet
everybody
you
else
have.
can hear it.
Yeah.
Tyler, we have a few minutes left. This is what I've been catching bass on down here.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I think I have it right here. The old that guy from Mississippi.
Oh yeah. It's a good color.
That color.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tad Macy, actually. Brock Mosley.
Oh yeah.
That's what he likes to use.
Yeah, he's all right.
And
He's a decent fisherman.
He's all right.
I got to see him almost every day.
He's all right. I like that.
Yeah. Tyler's got all this scope with all these guys, you know what I'm saying? So hopefully we can get a few items from these fellas too, some signed items and, you know, merchandise and stuff like that. So once again, that's all being addressed.
Yeah, like rattle traps.
That's it. Yeah. We're going to get it all, but at the same time,
Rattle
we
traps
can
are
only
like
do so much. Yeah. Yeah. It's
you know, when I was on Lake St. Clair, I went up Lake St. and I was so poor. Here's something else. That's only part of the equation. Here's gel shad crack. Put that on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially with smallmouth. The smallmouth like scent up there. So hopefully I could teach two people how to catch them because I didn't know how to catch them 7 years ago.
You know, from what I hear, the fishing's only gotten better up there on St. Clair. I like having people on because I can actually talk about St. Clair because I've been there.
Oh, yeah. It is one of the best fisheries out there. It's just a big circle bowl, and it's full of fish. And all they do is eat all day. And that's what we're trying to get down here by. You know, I fish around the country all year, and I go to these great fisheries all year, and it's just crazy, especially when you go across the Texas line. When you hit that Texas line, it's a new world. What they do for their fisheries over there, it's insane. And I wish Louisiana would follow suit and follow them and actually do something like them. And I mean, that's
why I said, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah, it's true. It was here. So let's just say, like, if we could get the classic back down here in Louisiana, and I know it's not just the fishing part that's not coming, but you got the private waters, and that's just a whole different story.
Right.
We're just tackling one problem at a time.
Yeah.
And we're like the lawyers or the smart guys. We just like to fish. Yeah. So we're doing that fishing part, and hopefully when the fish start coming back to life and coming in here, more people are starting to fish. That means more people are coming down here. I think Bassmaster will probably look into coming here. For instance, Bassmaster, whenever we went to Knoxville, they brought in over $30 million to Knoxville, just to the city. So I mean, everybody likes money, especially in the government. So I think when they hear $30 million, they might ring a bell and they might, hey, maybe we could try to do this. But
first things first.
Get some fish. We got to get fish. And I think honestly what we are doing will help. A lot of people, I want to say this too before we get off, is that a lot of people, they got a few negative ones out there that are just like, we got a hurricane. Oh, a hurricane's just going to come and mess it all up. Well, I don't think that's totally true because hurricanes have been happening since before we were here. Before you, me, Steve, everybody was here. And guess what? This was sportsman's paradise with hurricanes coming through there left and right. And I think the difference is what they were saying. Everybody stopped stocking fish, stopped just helping out. And I know people used to keep fish a lot. And I think that it didn't matter back then because there were so many fish. And that's because they were just kept repopulating them and releasing them. And I think with us releasing the fish, we're going to try and get as much as we can. I'm 100% into this because this is where I learned to fish and this is my career. Is fishing, and I don't even like fishing down here anymore because it's that bad. So I want to get it not even for me now. I don't care if I fish anymore here, but more for the high school kids and the kids growing up that aren't getting to experience what I got the experience. Steve got the experience down here, which was actually sportsman's paradise in Lake Buff. You could go there and catch whatever you want and have the best time of your life. And just then, like I said, with Lake Buff, and hopefully we can get it all the way to Bayou Black and everywhere else and just get the fishing great again.
Yeah, I know we're wrapping up here, but that Tyler led me to think about this point too. And Jay, the same way, I think I mentioned to you earlier that the first thing that even got this thing marinated in my brain was when I found out that Cliff Crochet had started doing this in Assumption Parish post Hurricane Ida, because he's like, well, this is unacceptable. Let's do something. But he just finished with year 3, raised a ton of money again, and they're not stopping. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's become part of the culture. Same thing we want to do here, but even the bigger picture is my dream or vision, if you will, is that other parishes are going to be like, well, crap, these Assumption Parish is doing it, Lafourche Parish is doing it. I mean, Cliff, I called Tyler one day. I got Cliff's number from him. Cliff didn't know me from, a hole in the wall. I was just nobody. But I called him, told him who I was, told him that, Tyler and I was related, told him what I wanted to do, that I wanted to basically steal from him, get his idea so we could do the same here. And he was just selfless, spent countless hours with me on the phone. And here we are. But once again, I'm hoping St. Charles Parish and Terrebonne Parish and St. John and St. Mary and everywhere else. Why not? It was killing me a few years ago when we had boats traveling from damn near Baton Rouge coming to catch our fish. They're not doing that if they got fish in their backyard. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? So everybody, once again, has a vested interest to just do more. God damn it.
Yep. Oh. Can't hear you again.
Technical difficult.
It keeps turning off my mic, man. It's starting to. I'm not turning off my mic. It's turning off on its own.
It's a ghost.
Anyways, Blake Ribeye said, I have hundreds of packs of baits to donate to this event.
Yeah, Blake's
Appreciate
Blake's he's on my committee. He's been my MVP up to this point. He's done more to help than anybody else by far.
Thank you, Ribeye. Okay, now's the time when we thank people. Since my computer doesn't want to cooperate,
we got to wrap this up. Well,
you got some time. Just do a few things.
I'll go ahead and start. I already mentioned Cliff Crochet, but I'll mention him again. Not here if it's not for him. I want to thank the guys from Make Lake Buck great again. That was the last part of the puzzle. They had a meeting about a year ago, or earlier this year, that I went to. And when I walked out of there, it was me and my buddy Chris Babb and another committee member. And I said, dude, they'd been in my mind that when I heard about Clifton, I was like, man, I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to move forward and see what happens. And a week later, I couldn't shake the idea. I couldn't get rid of it. So it kind of taken me over. And so that was those, like I said, those guys, they inspired me because I'm like, look, they come together and we can do the same thing. And like I said, all my committee members. There's another friend of mine named Bart Thibodeau, just real quick. Bart's probably hustling more than anybody. I mean, he's crazy. Him and his wife. And it just seems like daily right now I'm getting contacted by people like, Jay, when you contacted me, we had never met before or whatever. And it's just starting. I mean, it literally, we're just starting. So, and like I said, in Brian Fontenot. Brian Fontenot's done a lot. So, and there'll be a lot more people to thank, over the next few months. And I thank them all in advance. What you got?
Yeah, no, for sure. Just the committee members that just helped Steve start this, but mainly Steve. He's been at us left and right. He's been like a mom on her homework, trying to get it done every night. He'll text the group, say, hey, what we got done. And he stays on everybody. And I think that's what we need to get this going. Because, I could easily started this as well. And I just never did. So I'm glad Steve actually stepped forward and did this. And it's very awesome that he did it because I want fishing to be fun out here. I went fishing this Monday in Lake Buff, and it wasn't fun. And I told my stepbrother I was with, I was like, there's no point of even fishing down here anymore right now when there's no fish to even catch. Like, it's when you got a taste of what it used to be and then you're fishing down here now, it's just totally different.
I'll tell you something real quick on that note, Jay. This was not long before, actually, I think it was a few months probably prior to Hurricane Ida, which was late August 2021. We got a buddy of mine, Brad Fields, has also been a huge help. He's on my committee, and he holds a little private tournament. And so anyway, me and Tyler teamed up for that, and we just got into him early. I never really punched before, and next thing I know, I was even catching fish punching, and we ended up with 24 pounds, 6 ounces that day. We won the tournament.
Wow.
I knew for a fact we had lunker. I think Tyler had the best fish was 6'11". We didn't have lunker. My buddies who was fishing not far from us, I forgot exactly what John Blake's bag was. But it was
7.2 or something. Yeah.
But no, Blake had like a 7.7. Like so we had another one that was right at 7.5 that, my buddy and I caught in another boat. So it just goes to show you, where things were. And the amount of 4 and 5 pound fish that was coming out of that area at that time was pretty mind blowing, especially when you take into consideration the pressure that was on it. So, because there wasn't much fish there wasn't much grass on the lake at the time. Thankfully, it appears it's coming back. So now, you have the lake and the canals that we can release fish in. So, so hopefully within a few years, we're doing the same thing.
Well, I'd like to make a couple shout outs. I'd like to thank both of you guys. I know what a huge undertaking this is, what a huge drain on your resources and time this is going to be. And I pledge to you my support. I'm also like to thank Tad Mazie from Crush It Gel. He makes the shad crack, and that's what I caught fish on. Crush It Gel. Lake Tadawatchie.
Tad's a great advocate for this area. You know what I mean? Like I had a meeting just real quick. I hate to interrupt you, but I had a meeting a few months ago at a fire station before I had any of my crap together at all. It was a pretty bad meeting looking back on it, but I had to do something, and I was just trying like hell, and I was just, it was a little chaotic, but anyway, I never met Tad before, and I talked to him on the phone before because I hosted Bass Tournament every year, and we spoke one time, but he just showed up with his wife, and he's been a huge supporter, since then. So he's, you know the guy, you know what I'm saying? He's all about it, and I know he's going to do a lot to help us too. So yeah, thank you, Tad.
Oh, he is. And I told you when he called me and told me about this, I jumped on it. Guys, I jumped on it. And I'd like to thank everybody for watching this, a very important podcast that we just did. This podcast is about you guys. What I like to do is I like to find great content, and you two certainly are great content. Thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedules.
Thank you, Jay.
Definitely.
I just can't thank you enough. And I can't wait to go to that event. We're going to drive there all the way from, I know you were talking about Baton Rouge, but unfortunately I live there. Well, actually I live in Denham Springs, but Denham Springs and Baton Rouge, what's horrible about this place is it's like 45 minutes away from Louisiana,
Right.
Yep.
There's no fishing here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just tough. It's traffic.
Yeah, you can have it.
And that's where I hope,
like, we get. I lived down in Patterson.
Yeah.
6 years.
We even want to help out, like what Steve was saying earlier. Even not once Lake.
When I was
Buff
living
just
there's a lot better fishing.
Yeah, but we get up to like False River, we'll do the same thing there. Like we don't want to stop. I think now, like once we get Lake Buff going, and once this actually succeeds, I think we could just go to Denham Springs. We could go to Baton Rouge, get that place fired up, and just get this whole state getting back to where it needs to be.
That's right.
Yeah, just southern third of the state, man. The southern third of the state. We're gonna show everybody what we're made of.
Yeah, that's right.
We will show everybody what we're made of, and like I said, if they're not going to help us, we will help ourselves. And I'm here to help.
That's right.
I'm here to help, and so I'd like to thank everybody who tuned in. I'd like to thank you guys. I'd like to thank Tad Mazie for introducing me to you guys. And with that, I'm going to end the podcast. You guys, please stick around for a couple minutes. I'd like to talk to you after the podcast. And with that, guys, man, you know what? It's Wednesday night. Make your plans. Go fishing. I know you only get to do this life once, guys. Have fun. You're not going to be talking about how much fun you had watching TV in your last days.
All right.
All right, I'm going to end the podcast with that. Have a good weekend, guys.